this. Okay. Bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam, bim bam, bim 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 bam, bim 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 bam. Shabbat shalom, hey, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Hine ma tovu manaim, shevet ahim gam yachad. Page 10. Hine ma tovu manaim, shevet ahim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, shevet ahim gam yachad. Hine ma tov, shevet ahim gam yachad. Hine ma tov manayim, shevet ahim gam yachad. Hine ma tov manayim, shevet ahim gam yachad. Well, we made it. We made it to Shabbat, July 29th, 2022. Welcome, everybody, near and far. I so appreciate your being here and there. And let's, take a deep breath and think about this past week and kiss it goodbye. It was a good week, and I'm grateful, and I'm so happy to be here. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Kira. All right, so I have a poem to share with you. And it's called Entering Shabbat. And I'm going to take a sip of water first. And it's by Maya Conrad. As we enter this sacred time of Shabbat, may Adonai help us put aside our stresses of daily life and absorb the calm of this holy moment. As Shabbat begins, may Adonai revive our ability to feel the infinite potential this ceasing affords us to regather our scattered selves. In the hallowed space Shabbat creates, may Adonai refresh our connections to our loved ones and community, expanding the threads which bind us together. Liked that. So you at home might want to go get your Shabbat candles ready to light as we sing Light These Lights, and please feel free to join in. Oh, hear my prayer, I sing to you. Be gracious to the ones I love, and bless them with goodness and mercy and peace. Oh, hear my prayer to you. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen. And now, Susan, would you like to come up and help me light the Shabbat candles? Here, why don't you? Oh, okay. Very impressive. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lechadlik ner shel Shabbat. Thank you. Please turn to page 7 and read responsively with me, please. Where has this week vanished? Is it lost forever? Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, the realized hope, the task accomplished? Will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain, the sting of defeat, the heaviness of boredom? On this day, let me keep for a while what must drift away. On this day, let me be free of the burdens that must return. On this day, Shabbat, abide.
Help me to withdraw for a while from the flight of time. Contain the retreat of the hours and days from the grasp of frantic life.
Let me learn to pause, if only for this day. Let me find peace on this day. Let me enter into a quiet world this day. On this Shabbat, on this day, Shabbat, abide. And if you'd please turn to page 5 and rise for the Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho ve'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit ki hu yom tehila lemikra ekodesh zecher letziat mitzrayim kivanu v'harta yotanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha ve'ava uvratzon hinchaltanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Amen. L'chaim. You may be seated. I have another piece to share with you that doesn't have a title. I know. But it was written by Abraham Joshua Heschel, so if he didn't want to title it, we're going to let that slide. Refreshed and renewed, attired in festive garments, with candles nodding dreamily to unutterable expectations, to intuitions of eternity, Some of us are overcome with a feeling, as if almost all they would say would be like a veil. There is not enough grandeur in our souls to be able to unravel in words the knot of time and eternity. One should like to sing for all men, for all generations. There is a song in the wind and joy in the trees. The Sabbath arrives in the world, scattering a song in the silence of the night. Eternity utters a day. Where are the words that could compete with such might? All right. Let us now turn to Shiru Ladonai, and the words are best found on page 344. Shiru Ladonai kol haaretz, Shiru Ladonai shir hadash. Let's do it one more time. Shiru Ladonai kol haaretz, Shiru Ladonai shir hadash. Sing unto God all the earth a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll all sing along, all the earth a new song unto God. Shiru Ladonai kol haaretz, Shiru Ladonai shir hadash. Thank you, that was lovely. And now I'd like to share another poem with you. This is Alden Solovi. It's called The Ladder. The ladder connecting heaven and earth is built of prayers and dreams. It rests on wisdom and truth, the solid foundation of Torah, and it leans beyond the sky and the clouds, gently against the courtyard of holiness and light, a plaza leading to the gates of mercy, the gates of righteousness, the gates of wisdom, the gates of justice, the gates of repentance, the gates of forgiveness, the gates of tears, and the gates of prayer. The ladder connecting heaven and earth is near, so near. If only you would turn to look, to notice the holiness surrounds us, to see the invitation to walk with God in this life exactly as you are, not an angel, but a human, carrying the breath of the divine inside your heart. Such a poet. Well, so you may tell the person next to you, good Shabbos, Shalom Aleichem. Public displays of affection are completely appropriate. And let's turn to page 24 and sing Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Bohem l'shalom, Malchei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu ni l'shalom, Malchei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem l'shalom, Malchei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Thank you. That was very beautiful. And now, if you would please turn to page 28 for the Baruch Hu. And please rise if you have not already done so. Thank you very much. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Vahed. Okay, and you may be seated. You may now turn to page 20. Oh, I skipped the Chatzi Kaddish. I did. No, well, but so I caught it though. So turn back to page 26. A little out of order. Yitkada v'yitkada shemei Rabbah. V'yalma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malhutei. B'chayehon uv'yomechon uv'chayeh dekol Beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, uvizman kariv, ve'imiru, amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevorach, le'olam ulal me'almaya, yitbarach, yitbarach, ve'yishtabach, ve'yitpa'ar, ve'yitraman, ve'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, v'yitalel, v'yitalal, Shemei dekudisha brichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nemata, dahamiran b'yalma, v'imiru, amen. And then we did the Baruch Hu. So now I'd like to read you another. This is called Erev by Rabbi Annie Lewis, and it opens like this. Hama'ariv Aravim, God who brings evenings, you are the master of transitions, the artist of Ma'avarim. And we, your people, we are called Ivrim, those who pass from one place to the next, who travel to the edge, who seek you in the in-between, we and you forever becoming, rolling dusk into twilight and darkness into dawn. As you preside over time, the sun rises up and bows low. The moon stretches out and curls in. Our bodies wax and wane. Everything is on the move. Particles flip and twirl. Light floods in and fades away. You offer us sparks of holy time, soul, and space. When Shabbat comes in stillness, we breathe. We are whole. We are here. One of the reasons I chose this was because she talks about those who pass from one place to the next, who travel to the edge. Well, the Parsha this week has travel in it. So that's where that came from. If you would turn to page 32, and let's read together in the middle of the page. Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. And now on page 34, the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. And on page 36, the Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anochi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha Veshinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam beshivtecha bevetecha uvlechtecha vaderech uvshochbecha uvkumecha ukshotam leot al yodecha v'hayula totafot beinenecha Uchtavtam al mezuzot betecha uvisharecha. So, we've had all these wonderful B'nai Mitzvah kids who've been with me during the service, and now they've done wonderfully. And so these parts that I hadn't been used to doing, I'm doing. It's kind of fun for Ve'ahavta. How nice. Please turn to page 39 and let us read responsively. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth.
The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, I
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
And now, oh no, don't apologize. Mi Chamocha on page 40. You're welcomed here, and we're so happy you're here. 40. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot o sefela, nora tehilot o sefela. Who is like you, O God, among the gods that are worshipped? Who is like you, majestic in holiness, awesome in splendor, working wonders? Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. And now, if you would turn to page 42, third line down in Hebrew, we haven't sung Ufros Aleinu in a really long time, and it's the same melody, and we sing it twice. So, Cindy, let's do just one run through so people can. Okay, so third line, either in Hebrew or English. Ufros aleinu sukat, sukat, shalamecha. One more time. Ufros aleinu sukat, sukat, shalomecha. And then read with me at the top of 43. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up, waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, haporis sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. And now, page 44, the Shamru, if I could ask you to rise if you are able. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasod et ha-Shabbat ledoratam berit olam. One more time. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasod et ha-Shabbat ledoratam berit olam. B'nei Rein Yisrael, Oti le'olam, Oti le'olam, Oti le'olam. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasod et ha-Shabbat ledoratam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim v'et Haaretz v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, lasot et HaShabbat ledoratam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash, v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, lasot et HaShabbat ledoratam berit olam. And while you're standing, we might as well just segue, turn to page 46, and we will begin the tefillah. We urge you to either read the beautiful poetry and prayer in the Siddur, or pray the words of your heart, or any combination thereof. And if I could ask you to rise and join me in our intention. Adonai sifatai tivtach ufi agita hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Please continue silently through page 62 and feel free to have a seat when you are finished. ve'imru, imru, amen. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Well, welcome again. Tell me your name. Gwen. Welcome, Gwen. Welcome. I'm Naomi. I'm Naomi Blakely. Nice to meet you. So, just to kind of touch on the Parsha this week, it's a twofer. It's one of those times that, in order to stay current, we have to put two together. So, this is Matot and Maseh, and I think I'm not going to give you a summary of it. I'll just tell you that there's lots in here, and difficult stuff where you'll hear about it. Difficult stuff and boundaries are drawn and, I'll just talk about it. They contain lots of thought-provoking considerations. I've grabbed a few snippets for us to ponder from several of our contemporary rabbis, and these are thoughts that resonated with me, and I hope they'll do the same for you. The first is by Rabbi Alex Kress. His thoughts have to do with the listing in this portion of all 42 stops the Israelites made before entering the Promised Land. 42. He approaches these thoughts as one who returns to a familiar place, the place he grew up after a long COVID-based absence, and what that return evoked in him. So this is what he says. It's easy to downplay all the little moments that make us who we are. We like to act as if life is linear, predictably moving toward a given destination along a predetermined path. Yet the Israelite journey from slavery to the land of Israel reminds us that there are many chapters that shape who we become. The Baal Shem Tov, the great Hasidic master, teaches that the many stages of the Israelite journey not only apply to the Israelites as a whole, but to each and every one of us. All the 42 journeys of the children of Israel will occur to each individual between the time they are born and the time they die. These 42 stages remind us that life often leads us down an unpredictable and often circuitous path. Sometimes we fail in ways that inflict moral injury and pull us to an unimaginable low. In other moments, we reach heights that soar past our wildest imagination. Most of the time, we forget to find holiness in the mundane steps of our journey or offer gratitude for whichever stage we find ourselves in. Towards the end of Matot Maseh, the Israelites are instructed, "You shall not defile the land in which you live, in which I myself abide, for I, Adonai, abide among the Israelite people." No matter where the Israelites found themselves in their journey, God remained. The Midrash Sifrei Bamidbar teaches that even when the Israelites were unclean, God's presence remained amongst them. In other words, God's holy presence remained amongst the Israelites during their basest behavior and their best. He concludes, "Holiness, I realized, abounds in every tangible and intangible step of our journey." Parshat Matot Maseh simply reminds us to look for it. So my addition, this is hard to do in these current times. It's hard to do. It's hard to find the holiness abounding. But the reminder to do so is vital, at least to me. The next piece focuses on the women, our matriarchs, past and present. Rabbi Carol Ballin puts the name of Rose Schneiderman before us. as a fierce advocate for women and workers in the early 20th century, which earned her a reputation as a tiny red-haired bundle of social dynamite. She was a leading voice in the trade union movement for over 50 years, organizing on the shop floor, the street corner, and in the halls of Congress and the White House. Rose Schneiderman follows a long chain of Jewish women who channeled their anger into political action. This resonated with me. From the daughters of Zelophehad, who appear in this week's Torah portion, to the women of our own generation who organize, agitate, and simply won't tolerate injustice. You might remember Zelophehad's 5 daughters from Parshat Pinchas. They're the ones who, when their father dies without a male heir, insist that they inherit their family's ancestral land. Moses makes their case before God, and lo and behold, their demands are met. The daughters receive a divine promise that the land will stay in their family for perpetuity. But the startling triumph of biblical women's rights doesn't last long. Male relatives challenge the divine ruling in this week's joint portion, Parshat Matot Maseh. They fear that they will be shortchanged should Zelophehad's daughters intermarry with those of another tribe. So God decrees that the daughters may marry anyone they wish, provided they marry into a clan of their father's tribe of Manasseh. Not a lot of latitude there. As Rabbi Hara Person has observed, by marrying their first cousins, the daughters will essentially hand over their inheritance to the same men who would have received the land had they not stood up for themselves in the first place. Rabbi Ballin continues, reading Rivka Lovitz's creative interpretation of Numbers, she noticed that in a single verse in this week's Parsha, the 5 sisters are referred to first in the aggregate based on their relationship to their father, daughters of Zelophehad, and then as individuals, each with her own identity, Mala, Tirzah, Hogla, Milcah, and Noah. Lovitz understood their father's name as a compound of 2 Hebrew words, Zeh and Pahad, shadow and fear, and thereby argued that only after the daughters banded together were they able to come out from the shadow of fear and be called by their own names and speak their truth. Like Mala, Tirzah, Hogla, Milcah, and Noah, who came before her, Rose Schneiderman's life work personifies that reality. She understood that getting counted requires collective action, and that collective action leads to getting counted. And in this day and age, nothing could be more truthful than that. Collective action leads to getting counted. Yes. Rabbi Heather Miller continues on this theme with a slight deviation. And so Moses deployed a caveat to the daughters' newfound freedom. While they were granted the right to inherit their father's property, they would be restricted with regard to whom they could marry, only men within the tribe. The daughters' victory was challenged and tempered. Similarly, the victory of Edith Windsor and same-sex marital rights is often challenged and is under real threat of being rescinded. This underscores the fact that creating justice requires hard work over many generations, and safeguarding these rights requires constant vigilance. This is our time to be constantly vigilant. Dr. Rahuma Weiss recognizes the challenge in our weekly Torah portion this way. The Reform custom of the Shabbat Torah reading in synagogue is to choose part of the traditional portion of the week to be read in public. This custom enables us from time to time to disregard problematic issues, to which I add there are few in this portion. Both of them. The specific one here refers to the slaughter of the Midianites and Balaam. These are horrific actions. She continues, I think we in our congregations ought to read these terrifying verses at synagogue, maybe in a special sad chant. By reading this tradition, we admit that we are not perfect or different from other nations. And by reading these verses, we declare our responsibility to learn, to change, and to become better. My open eyes observe reality, teaching me that God does not offer general or personal providence, and therefore my God is not a judge or a police officer. My God is possibility. My God is choice. Faith in God for me is faith in the fact that there is a moral demand outside of me. This is the faith that commands me to do good, And this is an absolute truth for me. And I close with the thoughts of Rabbi Joseph A. Skloot. The word synagogue has its origins in the Hellenistic culture of the ancient Mediterranean, and by the century, it came to be a universal term for a Jewish gathering place. Its Hebrew equivalent is Beit Knesset, literally a place of gathering. And we might say that the Beit Knesset is a place where Jews and their families gather regularly with one another to mark time and share in the joys and sorrows of their lives. The etymology of the word begs us to ask, who is gathering in this synagogue? Who is here? And who is missing? How welcoming are we? How open are our doors? How open are our hearts? No community is perfect. There's always room to grow. Yet this week, as we close the book of Numbers, all of us stand on the eastern shore of the River Jordan, imagining how our congregations could be more open, more welcoming, more appreciative of people of different backgrounds and experiences. This week, our Torah reading invites us to ponder how we might transform our synagogues into promised lands of our own making. The presence of holiness in our lives, if we remember to notice it, the rights of women and same-sex couples, and the importance of constant vigilance to maintain these rights, the acknowledgement that we as a people are commanded to do good even as we read about the horrific actions our ancestors were directed to mete out in the past, and our charge here and now at Ort Zafon to be our own promised land, to be the most open and welcoming Beit Knesset possible. It's a lot to ponder. I wish you a restful Shabbat with hopefully enough food for thought to carry you through to Havdalah. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you. Okay. Announcements, birthdays, anniversaries. Birthdays. Today is Elias Horman's birthday. Happy birthday, Elias. Cheryl Shellub's birthday is Tuesday, August 2nd, and Colleen Margalit's is Wednesday, August 2nd. No, one of those is wrong, because they can't both be the 2nd. I'm going to say Wednesday is August 3rd. Anniversaries. Samantha and Mike Mogul, happy anniversary, Sam and Mike, is Sunday. And then Michelle and David Robles' anniversary is Tuesday, August 2nd. So we have established that August 2nd is Tuesday. Way better. Next Friday night, August 5th, there will not be services here. There will be shul by the pool. It's a creative way to welcome Shabbat. Come to swim and socialize. Snacks, beverages, and appetizers will be provided. Bring a main dish, side dish, salad, or dessert to share. There will be an abbreviated service, which will include a reader's theater to learn about Devarim, which is next week's portion. I urge you to check the bulletin. Members got an email today in their mailbox. I can give you the contact information. We'd love to have you join us. Book Club will be meeting August 6th. No, I think that's 16th. And then Cantor Shira will be here August 19th at 7:30. So those are a few things that we've got going on. Love to get you signed up so you can receive our information, so we can do that. Oh, good.
Is her name Mindy?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, good.
I haven't met her in person, but
She's lovely.
I've emailed her.
Okay, good. Then you will be in the know with her.
Unfortunately, I'm away for a few weeks. Well, a good thing too, travel.
Good, good,
But I'll be back
good,
next fall.
good. Then we'll see you then. All right, then let's go ahead. I'm going to read a sort of a different Misha Berach prayer. It's called A Healing Prayer for Now by Rabbi Jen Gubbitz. We pray, Misha Berach, to the source of blessing, repair the rent garments of our souls, stitch the ripped fabrics of our society, bandage the holes in our hearts, vaccinate us against systemic racism, abuse of power, and senseless hatred. Cure our sicknesses, treat our ailments, lighten the burden of our treatments, give us strength, offer us relief, release us from suffering, heal my dad, guard my mom, soothe my sister, love my brother, support my loved one, revive my friend, nurture all who live in the in-between, notice all who are unseen, renew our courage, restore our breaches, rescue our wholeness, and root us all in the ever-sturdy tree of life. Misha Berach Nishmotenu, may the one who blesses all of our souls bring us healing and bless us with love and understanding, wholeness and peace. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless these members of our community. Heather Becker, Larry Karras, Phyllis Karras, Robin Cohen, Marcia Gay Gans, David Hayes, Diana Heller, Rob Hirsch, Panina Kolakant, Barbara Kurtzman, Kit Levine, Sharon Maslow, Rick Moss, Dave Podolsky, Anastasia Rolo Lemos, Margaret Schmidt, Elliot Schwartz, Cheryl Shelleb, John Sitters, Melanie Spielman, and Aaron Stack. I urge you, before we say the Misha Berach, to offer names. Send them all comfort and relief speedily in our days, and grant them a complete healing of body, mind, and spirit. Blessed are you, source of life, who helps us to bring light where there is darkness and healing where there is brokenness. And if you turn to page 253, we can sing the Misha Berach. It's the one that's in the middle of the page. Misha Berach Avotenu Makor HaBracha Le'imotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mechor HaBracha La'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shleima, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. Beautiful. Okay, and now if you would turn to page 282 and rise for the Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'tet gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoye haratzot, velo samanu kemishbechot hadama, shelo sam chalkenu kahem, vego aleinu kechol hamonam, va'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Next page. Shehu note shamayim ve'oset haaretz, Moshe v'ikaro b'shamayim ima'al, Ushchinatu zo, ve'gov me'eromim, Hu Eloheinu Einod, Emet Mokeinu Efetzulato, Kakatu Betorato, Yadat Hayom Vehashevota, Elevavecha, Ki Adonai Hu HaElohim Hashamayim Ima'al, Ve'al Haaretz Mitachad Einod. And then 287. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai v'melech al kol haaretz v'yom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. And you may be seated. This poem is called, we typically do a prayer for our country, but this one I found online, and it's called Another Prayer for Our Country Because We Need It. Our God and God of our ancestors, bless this country and all who dwell within it. Help us to experience the blessings of our lives and circumstances, to be vigilant, compassionate, and brave. Strengthen us when we are afraid. Help us to channel our anger so that it motivates us to action. Help us to feel our fear so that we do not become numb. Help us to be generous with others so that we raise each other up. Help us to be humble in our fear, knowing that as vulnerable as we feel, there are those at greater risk, and that is our holy work to stand with them. Help us to taste the sweetness of liberty, to not take for granted the freedoms won in generations past or in recent days, to heal and nourish our democracy, that it may be like a tree planted by the water whose roots reach down to the stream. It need not fear drought when it comes. Source of all life, guide our leaders with righteousness, strengthen their hearts, but keep them from hardening, that they may use their influence and authority to speak truth and act for justice. May all who dwell in this country share in its bounty, enjoy its freedoms, and be protected by its laws. May this nation use its power and wealth to be a voice for justice, peace, and equality for all who dwell on earth. May we be strong and have courage to be bold in our action and deep in our compassion, to discern when we must listen and when we must act, to uproot bigotry, intolerance, and violence in all its forms, to celebrate the many faces of God reflected in the wondrous diversity of humanity, to welcome the stranger and the immigrant, and to honor the gift of those who seek refuge and possibility here, as they have since before this nation was born. Let justice well up like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream. That's Rabbi Ayelet Cohen. Beautiful poem. And then this is a prayer for the excerpted prayer for the peace of the state of Israel. Please, with the great force of your right hand, spread over the protectors of our land the canopy of your peace. Lift your hand over them, save them from all enemy and ambush, from all bullets that threaten their souls. Give them strength and heart to distinguish between enemy and lover, between the people of wickedness and the people of Abraham. Please, with the great force of your right hand, guard the state of Israel, our eternal homeland. For the sake of exalting your name among all the inhabitants of the world, please, with force, please, without use of force. Amen. And before we say Kaddish, I'm going to share this last Alden Salovi poem. It's called The Ladder. The ladder connecting heaven and earth is built of prayers and dreams. I read this one. Yeah, no, it's this one. This is the Kaddish one. Thank you. It's like, that's familiar. This is called Season of Sorrow. This is my season of sorrow, a time when struggles recur and challenges arrive, a time of endings and distress. In this moment, I've known moments of pain, moments of sadness, and moments of confusion. I've seen times of loss and times of grief, moments that have stripped me of wisdom and left me crushed and breathless, cold and in deepening shadow. Holy One, help me recall my seasons of joy, to recall with hope and praise your gifts and blessings, moments of laughter, moments of kindness, moments of peace, times of health, times of clarity, moments that lifted my spirit and comforted my heart. In truth, these joys and sorrows are gifts of holiness, gifts of mystery, gifts beyond my wisdom, my knowledge, and my understanding. Rock and Redeemer, you are my comfort and my strength, my light and my truth. So, we will find Kaddish on page 294. At the bottom of 293, you can join me in reading, "Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death." This Shabbat, we remember Richard Grisham, father of Gail Grisham, and Samuel Coleman, father of Francis Mayer. And we remember my dear sweet cousin Rebecca Willis, who passed away this month. And we take into our hearts all those who have no one to say Kaddish for them. Is anyone in, okay, then I will light the Yortzeit candle. And the Kaddish Yatom is on page 294. Please rise. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'alma divrach hirute v'yamlich malhute, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye de kol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kari v'imru amen. Yehe shmei rabbah mevarach leolam almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitale v'yitalal shemei dekudisha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nehemata. Da'amiran b'yalma v'imru amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shamaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. I have one more, please have a seat. One more poem, then we can retire to our oneg. It's called The Cure for It All. Go gently today. Don't hurry or think about the next thing. Walk with the quiet trees. Can you believe how brave they are, how kind? Model your life after theirs. Blow kisses at yourself in the mirror, especially when you think you've messed up. Forgive yourself for not meeting your unreasonable expectations. You are human, not God. Don't be so arrogant. Praise fresh air, clean water, good dogs. Spin something from joy. Open a window, even if it's cold outside. Sit. Close your eyes. Breathe. Allow the river of it all to pulse through eyelashes, fingertips, bare toes. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe until you feel your bigness, until the sun rises in your veins. Breathe until you stop needing anything to be different. Shabbat Shalom. Cindy, thank you. Kira, thank you. Thank you for being here. And Cindy, if you would take us out on the Tefillat Haderach. It's on page 345 if you want to sing along, but we don't need to. Yeah.